To continue the previous discussion that we had about planning, budgeting is the crucial part of planning. You need to plan your finances, you need to plan your expenses, you need to plan your revenue, your assets, your liabilities. So pretty much you need to budget. Budgeting, it sounds not very fun. So I personally prefer just planning your relationship with money, right? So the way I budget or plan my relationship with money is pretty much I determine how much money I want to make, how much money I'm going to be spending, and I go from there. There is a specific business model, it's budgeting model that I use that make it so easy. One very crucial part of budgeting is planning your expenses. Understand what your weekly, monthly expenses are. So make a list pretty much of your, let's say, past month expenses and see where you are spending your money. You guys are going to be surprised that a lot of your expenses that you do are unnecessary. You know, we go shopping and we shop on emotions. We buy things that we don't necessarily need, or we buy sometimes clothes that we'll never wear. Sometimes we go, and buy coffee a couple times a day. We just waste money, honestly. So, once again, make sure that you understand your expenses, write them down, and see how you can decrease your expenses. It's a very important part of budgeting. Next part of budgeting is understanding your revenues. It's again, some of you might have only one cash flow, one income. And in the future videos, I'll explain to you guys why it's important to have more cash flows. One cash flow is not very good to have. It's not enough to have. So know your revenues, know your expenses, know your bottom line. Again, I'll show you guys that the bottom line, for some of you, when you actually put it down, it's not going to be a pretty picture. Now, remember we talked about planning, right? When you graduate, part of budgeting will be pretty much paying for your expenses that you incur today. Some of you are paying for your education by taking loans. When you graduate, you will have to pay that back. So you will have to actually include that into your expenses. When a lot of students graduate, one mistake that they do, they go and right away they let's say they get a job, right? You get a job right away at the graduation, and you get a little bit higher salary. So what a lot of students do, past students, they go and they rent a bigger apartment, they buy a newer car, they start going to fancier restaurants, and that way pretty much what they do is they enter the rat race. The more money you make, the more money you spend. And, that pretty much continues for the rest of their life. That's why a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. They never budget. They never understand the difference between revenues, expenses, assets, and liabilities. So, once again, budgeting is very important. Make sure you know your expenses, put them down, make sure you know your revenues, make sure you know your bottom line, and the goal is to decrease expenses and increase revenues. Now, in some of the later videos, we'll talk about assets and liabilities and the differences between those two. Talk to you soon.